Well, everybody, Smitty here. Wanted to discuss Yu-Gi-Oh! Not over Master Duel or uh, Yugioh Pro or anything specific, just wanted to talk about it. As you can tell by the title of the video, it is going to be about my problems with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Which I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For a pretty long time, and honestly, I'm pretty upset with the game right now. Not upset with it, I guess. Maybe that's not the right word. Just annoyed, and it's kind of been a brewing thing. And I just figured I would do a recording on it and just talk about it. So the biggest thing that I really don't like are these meta staples, these hand traps. I think that they're just so boring. I was playing a game, and they're so overpowered too. I was playing a game just a few minutes ago, and I was playing my Adam Emancipator deck. It was I was going first on Master Duel. I got the whole combo going on: the Appaloosa, the Savage Dragon, the Dragite. This guy couldn't do nothing. He's playing fucking Unchained, which is a dog shit deck, and I lost that game. And that happens sometimes. I never played against that deck. I didn't even have a chance to do anything though, because I went first, set up my board. Of course, my board was nuts, which is another aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh! That is a problem. But I'll get into that. So how does this guy break it? This guy uses one card to break the board. He uses droplets, uses forbidden droplets, which just smashes my whole board. I can't respond to anything, and I just lose. And I don't see how that's good for the game. Like, I did not lose to his Unchained deck. I lost to forbidden droplets. That's fucking bullshit, man. Losing to one card like that, that's fucking bullshit. And I just think it's dumb. Like, I hate that that's a thing in this game. I hate cards like droplets. I hate cards like Ash Blossom and Nibiru. I hate cards like Dragoons and DPE because they're just boring. They're the same. They're just these really strong generic cards that any dog shit deck can run and win. And you should not lose to one card. That's what I've always thought. One of my favorite things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always been the combos. So if somebody does a good combo and sets up a nasty board, I say, that's fine. With that said, that is part of the problem, is that, these really strong going second cards like Nibiru, like Droplets, like Ash Blossom, and a bunch more, they are symptoms of, Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know when it happens, but Yu-Gi-Oh! At one point became about setting up these combos where you just get as many negates as you can. Because when I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! It definitely was not like that. I started competitively, at least. I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! My entire life pretty much, but competitively in 2012, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was not like that in 2012, There were combos, like the Hunter Loop, but they didn't end on negates, typically. The only negating cards in the game at the time were Dolka and Lagia. I think they were meta relevant. There were other. The Effect Veiler was in the game at the time, but it just wasn't as good. Like, anybody that played in 2012 knows what I'm talking about. The game was just different, Maybe like 2013, 2014 as well. But I think like once. You got to think that Cyber Dragon Infinity was such a good card that it literally won Stellar Knight the World Championship. That's one negate. One negate winning a World Championship. Crazy to think in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! That would be possible. Shoot, I remember playing Dragoonity and Blackwings back in the day, and sometimes just sitting on like a Armor Master or a Stardust Dragon with some traps. That's enough to win you the game, bro. Like, I don't know. The game has changed a lot. It could have been like Pepe or Zodiac or a whole hassle of decks. I don't really know which one it was first, to be honest, but at some point it started being about seeing how many negates you can make. And I remember in about 2015, I think it was, playing Yang Zing Metal Foes, being able to make, Crystal Wing and Void Ogre, and being able to set 2 counter traps and make the Hope Harbinger, the number 38, I think it is. the exceeds, and it was like, okay, yeah, now I can make like 5 negates a turn. Like, that's nuts. You know, that was in 2015, so I think it could have been like pendulums as well. But either way, at some point, the game became a dice roll game. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, was not always a dice roll game. In 2012, I'm going to keep referencing this now. It could have been, 2008 to 2012. I think anytime after synchros came out, but before pendulums, because I think those are like the golden ages of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I think right after Xyz Monsters came out, that was like the best time of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you didn't play then, I feel bad for you, because you don't get to see how Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually was. Modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! Fucking sucks. I don't know how anybody can get into it. I've been to it because I've been playing it for my whole fucking life since 2002. But if you're getting into it now, I just feel bad for you. It just sucks. And there was a time where Yu-Gi-Oh! Had a big problem because it really was about a dice roll. If you went first, or I should say, if you went second, you lost, because your opponent would just set up this insane board that you could not possibly get a chance about. I don't know if people remember that, but I remember that being a big discussion. Now it's not a discussion at all, because Konami, thankfully, when I say thankfully, I think that they really went about it wrong. It's like, it'd be like Call of Duty or Overwatch or something, where the developers don't know how to fix their fucking game, so instead they just introduce dumb updates that are like, no, you should just go back and actually fix the problems. Like, instead of banning, which I always thought that would have been the smart thing to do. Konami, their ban list, their ban list philosophy has never been to ban the actual broken card, but instead to ban the card that gets you to the broken card, which I think is dumb. Because if they just would have banned Cyber Dragon Infinity and Crystal Wing, and now if they would ban cards like Appaloosa and Savage Dragon and Baron and stuff like that, and there's a whole hassle of negates, cards like Dragoons and DPE, if they were to just ban these cards and then say, okay, well, now people aren't going to make broken combo decks, or sorry, broken boards with these combo decks going first. Now we can ban cards like Nibiru and Ash Blossom, which those cards came out because of those broken combo decks making those broken boards. And it just became, this problem that it stacks upon itself now. So you have these god tier combo decks making these broken boards. So they say, all right, well, let's make cards like Nibiru and Dark Ruler in Droplets and Ash Blossom, which now stack on top of that and say, you need this. And now you have cards like Cross-Like Designator, Triple Tactics Talent, Called By. These aren't that great, but you look at the Adventure Token stuff, and it's like, whoa, this Adventure Token stuff is literally great for hand traps. Like, that's one of the best, at least my understanding. Of course it is a free negate, and it bounces back. So you just do all that stuff to either bait out a hand trap. You do all the Adventure Token stuff to either bait out a hand trap or use it to negate a hand trap. And then you do your play. And then Cross-Eyed Designator and Call By, obviously. The problem is that's not enough counterplay for hand traps, in my opinion, especially since those, like, Called By only stops monsters, and Cross-Out, there's just way too many, like, yeah, if you can stop the Ash Blossom, that's good. If you can stop the, like, Called By doesn't stop Nibiru, doesn't stop Imperm, it doesn't stop Droplets. I just think it's a real fucking problem, man, because these cards are way too powerful. They should just ban all those. Ban Appaloosa, ban Savage, ban Baron, ban all those cards. Just get rid of all of them. Ban Ash Blossom. Just fix the game. Get rid of all that shit. I've always thought, this has kind of been something that my locals has been talking about for a minute, is what's a fun alternative format. I've always thought a fun alternative format would just be, no fucking quick effects. These quick effects is really what it boils down to. Is quick effects fucking ruin the game, dude. It's just bullshit, The game, I like the Yu-Gi-Oh's fast pace compared to like Magic, and I like the summoning aspect. I like the combo aspect, but these quick effect negates, it's just bad for the game. It's just bad for the game, because you look at like Magic the Gathering. Now I'm not a Magic expert. I've only played a little bit, but I know like Blue. it's all about stopping your opponent from playing the game. They essentially run hand traps and negates, but they have mana in that game. Like, you can't just infinitely negate nothing, or infinitely negate a card. You have to pay for it. You have to pay costs to negate something, which is something you do not have to fucking do in Yu-Gi-Oh. The cost for a quick effect is not high enough. Ash Blossom, you should have to like discard another card for Ash Blossom. You should have to pay a significant amount of life, or like tribute a monster on your own side of the field for something like Appaloosa or Baron, or fucking Griffin Rider from the Adventure Token engine. Like, these negates, there is no cost to these. The only cost to Ash Blossom is to discard it. The only cost to Appaloosa is to make it lose attack. That's irrelevant. It should cost you what do they call that? Your stuff, your resources. That's what it is. Because in Magic, I hate to compare Yu-Gi-Oh to Magic, because I think Magic's kind of a dull, slower game, and I like the speed of Yu-Gi-Oh. I've always been a Yu-Gi-Oh player, barely played any Magic, only got into it recently, and I still think that Magic sucks, but there's a lot of things that I'd say that one thing that they do right, at least that one thing that you could say, thank God, at least, paying costs for interruptions makes sense to me, right? And you pay resources in the form of mana, and that makes sense, because stopping your opponent from playing the game is the worst thing you could do in any game, and I think it's just dumb. Plus, I just think it's boring. That's another thing, is that so many goddamn decks in the meta right now. The meta isn't meta. And this goes back to what I said at the beginning of the video. I'm not losing to decks. I'm losing to cards, man. I'm not losing to your shitty Prank Kids deck. I'm not losing to your shitty Unchained deck. I'm losing because you have Ash Blossom and Nibiru and Droplets and Imperm. Those are the cards that are beating me. I think I uploaded a video. I know for sure I uploaded a video against Prank Kids. I was playing Zephyra. That guy didn't do fuck all with his Prank Kids deck. That guy's Prank Kids didn't do shit. You know what he stopped me with? His best cards were Effect Vader, Gamma, and Droplets. Those were his best fucking cards. His best cards in his deck were those meta staples. Anybody listening to this should say, holy fuck, yeah, that's stupid. That's not how the game should be. Of course, there is a counter argument that I get, because back when I played 2012, played competitively, when I first started playing competitively, and for a long time, there was a metagame, and there is still a metagame in Yu-Gi-Oh. It's a lot weaker now, compared to, like, there is no tier 1 or tier 0 anymore, I'd say, because of these staples, because you can just load up your shitty fucking dogshit deck with like 15 or 20 staples, and suddenly you can compete, which is good, except it's fake good. It's not actually good. This is not a fixed format. This is not a diverse format. There is no diversity in this format. A lot of people say that, oh, at least the format is diverse. That was a problem for a long time in Yu-Gi-Oh, because even back when I played 2012, it was 4 decks. In 2013, it was Dragon Healers and Spellbooks. In 2014, actually, was a little more open, but still there was always a meta. You go to like Necros, Drytron, Pepe, or not Drytron, fucking Zodiac. But yeah, Drytron is one of those two. There's always been a tiered meta, meta and non-meta. In this, it seems like it's a lot more open. Currently, right now, I should say. When I say that, I mean that the TCG, there's actually a good variation of competitiveness. Any deck can be competitive, which is good, but the fact that it's only competitive because of these incredibly overpowered cards, that's not good for the game. That's not competitive, and that is not diversity. That's not diversity. Okay? When you load up your, like I said, when you load up your shitty deck with the 25 best cards in the game, that's not diverse, man. That's boring and that's stale. That is not good for the game. And the best decks right now are the decks that can make good use of those incredibly powerful cards. I hate to talk more about Magic, but you look at from what I know about Magic, these Power 9, these cards are so good that, like, just playing them gives you so much advantage. I kind of feel like that with with Ash Blossom and droplets and Imperm and fucking, the Fusion Destiny Verte DPE shit. It's just like you don't see people building unique strategy anymore. If you look at any of my deck list videos, I get tons of people asking, "Hey, where's the Max C? Where's the staples? Where's the hand traps?" And I'm just like, I don't build decks like that because it's not fun, man. Who's having fun building decks like that? Where it's like, all right, let's let's take 25 of these cards. Let's just start with this 25 card base, and I can list off, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm, 3 fucking droplets. That right there, what was that, 12 cards? And you can talk about running like the Fusion Destiny stuff. It could anyway be, maybe not 20, but it could be 15 to 25, where I think it's just like, this is the basis for every meta deck. Any deck that tops is going to be using those. At this point, I'm kind of rambling, but you get what I'm saying. The best decks, there's no good deck. It's only good cards. And these cards, of course, they're expensive as fuck, too. The Adventure Token engine is about $300. The DPE stuff, if you want to get all of it, if you don't have any of it, it's going to cost you, what, like $150 or something like that. 3 Ash Blossoms now has gone up in price. It's going to cost you from $60 to $90. It's just dumb, The game is just in a shit state right now. It's stale. It's boring. You either get fucking comboed or somebody just kills you with one fucking card and you just lose. There's nothing you do. I mean, literally, Forbidden Droplet says you can't respond to it. You get Ash Blossom. It's like, well, you can't do anything. Ash Blossom has 3 fucking effects and they're all good. It's just dumb, there's just nothing you can do. And I also hate that the best decks, by the way, like I said, they're not actually good decks. They're just what decks can run the Adventure Token engine. What decks can run, 15 fucking hand traps without, losing its efficacy. What decks can run Fusion Destiny and DP, things like Prank It, Sky Strikers, and, not people. This base deck that just came out, that Gabriel Nets did, this is sort of what sparked me to do this recording. It's just that's not even a deck. It's just, let's just throw in a bunch of good fucking cards like Scythe and Artifact Scythe and DPE and the adventure stuff, and let's just play that, because fuck it, who needs a real deck anymore? Just I'm pretty sure you could just take some dog shit cards and just throw them together and add all those staples and just win. That's not Yu-Gi-Oh. That's I'm sure there's gonna be people that disagree. I would say that you're wrong. Make your own fucking video and tag me in it or something, because these hand traps are obnoxious and these combo boards are obnoxious as well. But I think the hand traps are even more obnoxious because there's just not enough counterplay to them and they're too strong. Just losing to that is not fun, and it basically forces you to play. And that's why mid-range decks have been more powerful lately. Things like some of these mid-range would be like, well, it's just middle of the road. It's not control, it's not combo, it's right in the middle. And that's just dumb. Now it's just like, and I'm forced to play a certain style of deck just because it's the best right now. A deck that can do a little bit and still run like all the hand traps. I don't know. It's just dumb. I just think it's bad game design. You know what I mean? Where if you're not playing a certain type of deck, you're gonna lose because a deck that can run, if your deck can't run all these staples and hand traps, it's not a good deck. And the mid-range decks can run that. The control decks can sometimes run that, but combo decks can. It's just like anti-combo. It's the same reason I hate Max C so much, because it stops in the Bureau 2. It just stops all these shits, all these hand traps and fucking staples. It just stops the one thing that makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! And that to me is the special summoning, the extra deck, and the comboing. I know it's broken, but in 2012, I'm going to keep referencing it because to me that's the golden age, but you can go back to 2010 as well. 2011, 2010, 2012, 2013, and 14, I think were fine points for Yu-Gi-Oh! Before Pendulums came out, the game was alright. And I'm trying not to sound like a Yu-Gi boomer, because I know there's been a lot of those. I like Pendulums, I like Links, I like combo decks that are absurd. You guys know I play Adamantippators and Zephyrs are 2 of my favorite decks, and those decks are just disgusting combo decks. Zephyr not really, but you get the idea. what was I gonna say? I don't even remember. Oh, in 2012, you know, you actually had traps in the game, not hand traps, traps. You know, do people remember that? I mean, I know Eldritch's thing, but that's a little different because that's based on the archetype. You know, people used to run Fiendish Chain and Dimension Prison and Torrential Tribute and Compulsive Bottomless and Mirror Force. You know, these used to be cards that people would use because they were just good. You know, they weren't part of an archetype. You just loaded up your deck with traps. And if you wanted to play combo, the combos you played were OTKs. Some of my favorite combos back in the day with like Hieratics, you didn't set up any negates. I mean, we had Photon Strike Bouncer, but it wasn't a negate. It wasn't something you made. I mean, it was just one negate. You know, you would just make the Gaia Charger in the fucking Gustav Max, and then, you know, if you play, like, I played Yugioh Karakuri back then too. It wasn't about setting up negates. It wasn't about that. It was just setting up, you know, summoning as many high attack point monsters as you can. And there was actually, you actually wanted to go second because going first is pointless. Going first is pointless then. You know, what the fuck are you gonna do? You gonna make your strong monsters and then get dark hold? Like, there's actually a chess game going on. And modern day Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have that because of both. And people say you blame it on the combo decks. You really should also be looking at these absurd hand traps and staples that are just blowout cards. They're so broken. They're not healthy for the game. Neither are healthy for the game, but I really think the hand traps are even less healthy just because, you know, even if it makes more decks competitive, they're just not fun to play against. It's boring. There's no counterplay, and it's stale. It's just not fun, man. This game isn't fun. You know, every deck is the fucking same. You're forced to play a play style. You're forced to play these fucking cards. If you can't play them, then your deck is shit. It's just not. It's just not Yu-Gi-Oh, man. It's just not Yu-Gi-Oh. It just sucks. So I made a ramble a little bit there at the end, but I just needed to get this video out because I think it's fucking bullshit. You know, the problem with modern day Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, the combos aren't the problem. Combos are what makes Yu-Gi-Oh. The problem are these fucking hand traps and cards like droplets. Please, I don't know. I just can't stand this shit anymore, man. It's fucking annoying. But that's the video. That was a bit of a rant. Jesus, 22 minutes. Alright, I'm out of here.